Welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith. Today is the day that we finally get to go through the boxes that everybody's been wanting to see. And we have 3 cardboard boxes here. We have a regular hand carry toolbox, and we have 2 chests. This one here really looks like it's pretty old, and then there's a newer style, but it is an old Kennedy box as well. Alright, now this first box here, we're going to go ahead, and I brought out a tray, because as I go through here, I'm going to go ahead and take and kind of sort out some of this stuff. I may want to hang on to some, but I'm going to start putting some things in other boxes to sort them out and have them ready for yard sale or giveaway or whatever whatever's going to happen to them. And I have other tools that I need to go through as well. I've had a couple of these types of drops-offs here from fellows around the Cape and in the area, and even some up near towards Boston, stuff like that. And they like to find a good home for them. You know, machinist tools, usually after they're done with them and they pass on, and actually I like to take a couple seconds just to reflect on somebody that you know, may have passed. I've known a few in my time, my mentors, or a very good friend that worked right alongside of me has passed on as well. And so anyhow, I'm going to take and I'm going to dump these out in the tray here, and then I can sort through them a little bit. Down in the box, we're just digging in the box, and it's not really... I'm going to reach in here and grab a couple things because I can see somebody put stones right on the top here, and I don't want to break them. These are sharpening stones in different grade. Some of them are for high speed, and some of them are for carbide. And I'm just going to set those off to the side here for now. Alright, let's go ahead, and some of these are big ones here. I'm going to pull these out and set these up, and just so we're not really killing everything. That looks like a tool holder. Alright, here's a Machinist Clamp, and part of it's missing. You know, we don't know if we'll find the rest of it. Let's dump this out. Piece of hexagon, looks like 3/8 hex stock. It has a couple mushrooms on the end there and a couple dings in it, so it may not be real hard. Alright, and we're going to go ahead. We may be just throwing some of the stuff back into this box here. Anyhow, let me go ahead and I'm going to get these laid out. I'm going to do a scan with the camera there and kind of show you the different tool bits here. Alright, I got the tool bits laid out. Basically, this was a box full of tool bits. And let's just start over here with this. I kind of broke them down into little collections here. And this is basically for all the borings here. And here's a couple nice threaders. And reach in with a small bit there. This was a straight bar. Now here's a braised unit right here. Somebody took a nice, made it like a little scoop. Alright, I've done this before. Take a piece of regular carbide or high speed, and then heat it up and bend it around, and then continue grinding so you can reach in there. You got to hold it and be able to reach in around or into a hole or a pocket. Now here's some that he's ground, and actually does them the same. Right and left hand boring tools. This one here actually had something broke off the end here, but it had some kind of creative notch, or this was clearance to reach in and get something cut over here. Anyhow, a lot of high speed and a lot of narrow little widths. You know, you get into snap ring grooves and things like that. Those are real handy to have. Here's a couple that I really thought were pretty unique. Was nice large radius with chip cutters ground right into them. See if I can get a good shot at that. There you go. Almost matching. The right and the other one's the left. Alright, here's like a really unique egg shape. Alright, here's a piece of Momax cobalt. Now this is a double-ended drill shape. And it looks like it was almost done on the surface grinder in different setups there. Both ends exactly the same. So that means he was driving it with the center, which is a square. It's a 5/8 square tool bit. Momax was Cleveland Twist Drill Company. Very, very good quality tool bits. Alright, there's some Swedish blanks here, high speed. And then we had an assortment here of braised right and left hands. A threading unit there. Alright, here's one right here. Now this was set up, this tool bit here sits up at an angle like this. So it's a pretty big lathe if you're going to use a 1/2 inch tool bit like this. But this, alright, that was ground to be a fine thread. It's a thread ground, but he had to come up next to a shoulder. And that's why he put it real close to that edge right there, so he could angle it in, get right in there, and cut a thread. So mixed in with all the tool bits and everything was a couple other things here. This looked like a tool bit to somebody, but wasn't. This is actually a holder for, and it says Lufkin on it. So there's a tapped out hole there, and a couple here, and a couple different arrangements here. This is for a Lufkin clamp support that clamps right into your tool holder, and it holds indicators and so forth. Alright, so we're going to be setting this to the side. Somewhere in the collection we might have more of this tool here, so we'll just kind of keep that to the side. The hex stock is just good. We'll put it in our material here. This knockout wedge was another tool. This pair right here is a shape. Both of them are exactly the same, and I don't know if they were set. They sound hard. I didn't take a file to them, but it may be a set of parallels that were made to have clearance in the middle. A very, very old and well-used machinist wedge. And you know, a lot of the older ones were really flat. A lot of the newer ones now, you see they have a lot of hollowness to them. All right, there was a tap and an old reamer. I don't know if it's lost its edge or not. We're not gonna investigate the quality of each tool here. We're just gonna go through, and we found actually 2 parts to a machinist clamp. And we're gonna set that to the side, and hopefully we can find the rest of the parts to that as we move along. All right, I'm gonna clear this off and get ready for the next box. Alright, I went ahead and I put away everything else that had to do with the collection of tool bits there, but I wanted to bring out this assortment right here just to kind of emphasize that this was the most impressive thing, you know, that I saw in there so far. This here was a piece of high-speed steel, and this is just a standard mill file. And I know that that's high-speed steel or a hardenable steel, and the scalloping that they did and create that, and of course this is just a regular piece of steel down here, and they were able to put that in however they needed to shape into the lathe, and that's what form tooling is all about. And you can always look at that scallop shape right there and kind of just imagine the spinning shapes that they were creating, and of course you don't know what diameters or things like that, but That was a good example of form tooling right there. And of course we know that this Momax tool bit here in the drilling shape, even almost like a chip cut here on each of these flutes here, or the leading edge. Real shallow angle. But it definitely has the split line right there in the middle. Real nice, cleanly done. Yeah, I'm kind of impressed on that. That's just a good conversation piece right there. Sure would be neat to actually see what how it was used. Yeah, if anybody's out there, you know, and that's the main thing about my site, and also going through this toolbox here. You're an old timer and you see something I'm flashing on here, put it down in the comments. Let's enlighten myself and the others here that are viewing. Real nice job on this, and I can tell that it was somewhat of a surface grinder job that created that tool bit. All right, and of course the length of time that it takes, and you look at the base material that these rest of these shanks here that I'm talking about, almost got like mill scale or hard flashing on them, like it was rough stock, and then they created their shapes. And of course these are, you know, you can tell that they're not any more than hand ground, but you know, they had some kind of uniformity to it. And this one here was for threading, a real nice one. Now down here I can take my file and I can put a groove in there, and then up here near the end it is tool steel hard. You know, it's neat that they were able to shape this all out of a raw piece of stock, the right hardness and the right alloy, and then they actually treated the end they're using. All right, and here's another one here, and a little bit of rust on all this stuff right here. In fact, actually the gentleman that dropped off this tool collection, that was from his dad and his dad's dad. It's handed down through the family, and we'll come up with a name there towards the end there, because we'll start seeing it on the tools and stuff like that later on. But storing these in the basement is not a good place. All right, now here again I can groove it with my file, and then up here is rock hard. Groove it with the file, rock hard. All right, also what kind of led me to think that, you know, you can see that end right there is it's a rough casting, and this is like hot shell here. Might have even been a forged piece of steel just to rough out. But if you take this straight line right here, all right, the end of that bit bends out farther. So they had to do some kind of prepping, some kind of bending, and shaping that on over, and then finish ground it. And then they ground the top and the bottom so that it would fit in the holder just right. This tends to be slightly ground on all four sides. Alright, and the last one here, same thing. We can groove it there, and it's rock hard there. Alright, those were the most unique things that were in that toolbox collection there that I saw. Alright, let's go on to the next. Alright, we're moving on to the next box here, and I'm going to set this out here, and then we're going to dump the rest of this out on the tray here. Alright, and it looks like we got some really old dies, and let me go ahead and get this spread out so we can get a good overview of what we got here. What's in the box? Hey, it looks like some more tool bits. Alright, we got second box laid out here on the tabletop, and you can see the square dies here. And actually the shapes are really, I mean, that almost looks like a propeller cutout shape. Now here, this one here looks like a flower or whatever, but also too, these are brazed in threaded inserts. Now these are all rusty. These were in a little gunny sack bag, the bag that dumped out there, and being stored in the basement, they've got all rusty film and everything else. And I'm going to go ahead and take and lap the side face with my flat paper there and see if we can get some literature or some stampings off of those here in a minute. Alright, there's some old, some rusty, a couple good taps that are in there. There was a small tap handle. Tap handle's not a bad, it's a union. Still nice and sharp and square. A couple good number 5s, center drills. A small end mill. And then we had a box of high-speed bits. And it was in this Ludlum tool bit box. And these are Pittsburgh, PA there. But they did have a couple more Swedish bits in there. A Virgin Momax 5/8. Here's a pair of bits that he taped together, and these were almost like spooning type bits, a right and a left hand, and he had those taped together in there. And there was 2 Virgin bits that actually were in that box. Here's a couple Apex bits that were in there. And then these are Rex. Rex AAA is stamped on these, and there's a Rex on here, but they're, you know, it's got a little bit of rust in there, so it's not that easy to notice. Couple burnout reamers. Here's a couple large easy outs. To me, a big easy out is just a bigger problem. Here's a real long and slender easy out. I've never seen one like that before. Alright, and then there's our dog that was there. There was a long Allen wrench. There's an assortment of drill bits. Some of them are trash, and there's probably a few good ones in there. This is almost a Virgin Chicago last strobe 3/8 taper shank drill bit. Pretty nice, pretty clean. It actually still has some of the coating, the old sealant that they used to slip over tool bits. Still got it on there. Alright, let's do a little cleanup on those die nuts and let's check them out. I'm zoomed in on this right here, and as you can see it's a 3/16 24 die nut. Now basically that no longer exists. Our American standard now, I believe, to take over the 3/16 24 is a 10/24. Alright, now I'm going to zoom out so you get to see a lot more of what else we got here on the platter here. Alright, out of that box, the sets of die nuts was the highlight of that box there. Especially this one right here. Now these are all pretty well pipe threads here, and each one of them is different. Here's a Brubaker, Williamsburg, Pennsylvania, 1/2 inch right hand tap. Here's a 1/4 inch right from Armstrong Brothers, Chicago, USA. Another Brubaker here, 3/4 right, and this one here I believe is a 1/2 inch pipe, and Walforth Manufacturing Company, Boston, USA. And another Brubaker here. This is 3/8 right hand. So these are basically pipe dies. And then of course you saw the little 3/16 by 24. Now this one here is a 3/4 right hand 20 pitch. And if you look at this real close, these 4 thread bits here are actually, this is multiple piece here. These are slotted, and then these were inserts into here, and then I think they silver soldered them in here. This is a Reed Manufacturing from Pennsylvania, and it even has a Q&E stamp right here. I think that's quality and excellent stamp. I think that's what a approved stamp was. I may be wrong on that, but I think that's what it was. 3/4 right hand, 20 pitch. I got that all stamped in there. This is the other side here. There's an 1130 stamped over here. I'm not quite sure what that is, but it might even be a number of the inventory of the stock, and just with the slight bit of lapping on the paper over there, you can see the definite inserted materials right there. Alright, let me see if I can hold that up a little closer for you. And maybe even just lay it down here and zoom in on it. Alright, I'm going to flip it over. Alright, on to the next box. Okay, we're on to the next box. Actually, this has a couple bags in here, and I think we're just going to go ahead and we're going to dump the bags out onto the tray here. You know, tray's just a little more forgiving. It's plastic, it's got a lip so things don't roll around. And we need one of these. Okay, I can feel that's a stone. A couple files. And a couple nice sculpting files. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and we can get a few more things out here. And that's a stone as well. Another triangle. A couple different stones in here. And then a mixture of tool bits, small scale, some cutters. Let's go ahead and let's dump another thing out here. It looks like it's all tapped. Alright. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go through those first. Let's see, here's another bag here. Actually, there's 2 more bags. Let's just get everything out of the bag. And we're kind of lucky. Now look, those are new tool bits, but we're lucky that rust didn't get to them like those die nuts. You know, some of those small die nuts might have been good. Oh, we need curtain hangers. Actually, the wife may actually need those. Actually, first things first. Hey, let's go. We're going to get these out of the way. We're going to take these right into the wife and see. She actually was going to hang some new winter curtains there. So these are heavy duties. Let's go see if she can use them. Alright, this is the little collection there that we dumped out of all the bags and stuff. Now, there is a lot of 4-flute taps in there, but there are some other good ones, but they're still in good condition. There's a lot of good taps in this batch here. There's a lot of little tiny small ones too as well. So we'll be going through and filing those. I don't really have a Dremel tool, but there is some small stones, and you know, they might come in handy to hang on to. You know, might be looking for a little Dremel tool here. All right, miscellaneous Allens, a couple drill bits there, and some more really good braised tool bits and stuff, not too rusted up and not all grounded up. Here's an assortment of 1/2-inch bits for the boring bar, and there's a couple threadings in here, and a nice, it looks like an Acme thread right there, little radius, high-speed bits, blanks, some X-Acto knives. They're not too good unless you have the handle for them. Speaking of handles, there is the start of some collection of file handles.
It's that's a luxury to have a handle on your file. One thing that we did find in here, and this is an old Starrett 32nd and 64th depth ruler, some sharpening stones, a really nice knockout wedge for the Morris tapers, some good center drills, a couple carbides. Here's a, I got the nut off of here, but I haven't got the tip slipped out of there. But this is a Starrett tool, and I think it's somewhat of a scriber driver. I got to pull that piece out and see what we got in there, if I can even get that out. And there was a couple dowels. I don't know what they were used for, but they were in there. One wrench for micrometer or depth mic or any of the barrel style wrenches needed. Alright, nothing real fancy on this, so we're going to put this away and we're going to get onto the box. Alright, now we're getting down to the box here. Well, I'm going to grab a couple things out of here just so that these are kind of long items. Some files. There's a real screwdriver, huh? We're gonna have to look at that close. I don't know what that is. That looks like a unique tool there. Alright, let's dump this out now. Here. Alright. Yeah, can you see why you need to save? You need to save one of those. Irwin, it says, huh? Okay, and hey, there was another tap in here. 7/8 9 bottoming tap. Alright, it looks like a punch handle or something, but it's broken off. There's, no matter what, Supreme number 9 chuck key. You always need that, and a bent handle doesn't mean anything. Worn out teeth or missing teeth, that's the only thing you need to worry about on a wrench there. Okay, out of the next collection there that we had gotten out of that box there, of course, we got a soldering tin here, or an iron. I was looking at the tinning on the end there and spit out with that. I'm going to put this in a cupboard because I do have a collection of old irons like this. And, you know, they had their day in air. And, you know, when you had a shop running and these things were all in the fire and they were always being kept warm and handy to have, it was the way to really do a lot of soldering. In fact, actually, it wasn't a year ago, and I actually saw somebody using an iron like this to do a copper pan for a shower, and he was still doing it with an iron setup here. All right, I still didn't get any numbers or anything off of here. It does have a little bit of engraving there, but I can't make it out. But a lot of old style end mills used to be taper shank for the Brown and Sharp, and a few other ones there. I don't know every machine that used to use taper collets, but that's basically what was driving. It does have a tang, almost like a Morris taper as well. It does look slim like that. I didn't slide a sleeve on it or anything else, and it very well could be a Morris taper as well. It's just Brown and Sharp came to mind on that. It's not practical for nowadays. In there was, it says Norton right here, and this, of course, is a dressing stone or dressing stick, as you would call it. And I just tried this out on my big grinder there, so I kind of played around with it. I didn't totally dress it off, but I played with it, and it does take, well, it takes a little while because I've neglected that stone for I don't know how long. I did take a wire wheel and clean this hammerhead up a little bit. I don't actually see any markings or anything. I don't know if this was purposely cut with a bandsaw or if it was manufactured that way. or even if this radius was on here. This is pretty well a square end, this is a round end. This is lightning in here for some reason, and I kind of think that maybe hell, I would be blowing smoke out my own butt. Anyway, anybody knows what that hammer's for. Now this is a PEX 2, PEXTO, made in USA. I've seen these before. I don't actually know what they're made or designed to do. But you got your main head here, and then for some reason the importance of this taper and everything else. I've never used a hammer like this, so I really don't know what its original design was intended for. But that's another head. Now this piece right here, it's like a pliers type of thing, but it came in. We know that it kind of probably went in and grabbed something. I don't know what for. It really is light duty. It might even be just a it looks so handmade or homemade, but it might have been actual part of a kit or something that went with. It's, you know, been around the block more than once. Don't really have any idea what it was used for, but it was in there. You know, what's funny is sometimes you look in machinist boxes. Of course, also sometimes when they're like this and other members of the family they get them, they also collect a lot of other things. But machinists will collect a lot of things on their own. I know I have a lot of things in my box that aren't. Actually, you put anything in a machinist's hands and it becomes a machinist's tool. Same way, you know, even if you go in and you ask a machinist to make a cake or whatever, or dress the Christmas tree or whatever, you know, machinist is going to do it a lot different than anybody else. You know, it's just we're just blessed with that arranging and sorting and making everything up to par. All right, let's move on to the next box, the first actual metal box.